Why? Why does any of this... Alright, I think Kudo made a mistake. Victim was a phony? Clearly, Mr. Kudo made a mistake. Mr. Wright, you're the one who brought up all these contradictions. And if you're trying to tell us the old man just made a mistake, we can wrap up this case right now with a guilty verdict. How about it, Mr. Wright? Should I just declare your client guilty? Is that the best you can come up with, Nick? Jesus. Why? Why would that be a guilty verdict? Why would that be a guilty... The ear doctor made a mistake? No, but they found the cream in his left ear, didn't they? Hold on, wait, did they find any cream? Left eardrum was ruptured. The victim was a phony? What does that mean? This case is riddled with contradictions. Yet there is one very simple answer that clears them all up. And what is that? The incident Mr. Kudo witnessed and the incident the victim experienced were two completely different events! What? I have no idea what that means. I have no idea what he's talking about. I have no idea what he's talking about. What? What? That's what I said. Yes! The victim that Mr. Kudo saw wasn't Glenn Elg at all! It was an imposter, a phony pretending to be Mr. Elg. Obviously, unlike the victim, there was nothing wrong with the imposter's left eardrum. That's how he ended up wearing the earpiece in his left ear by mistake. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. Order in the court, settle down or I'll clear the courtroom. Quiet, Gramps. Why don't you clear out of here, huh? What did you say? Trite, are you saying that what Mr. Kudo saw was a setup? Yes. Someone pretended to be Glenn Elg and acted out the whole coffee poisoning. That's so stupid. All for the express purpose of creating a witness out of one Mr. Victor Kudo. Get real, Trite. Why would anyone want to do that? Yeah, why would anyone want to do that? That's so stupid. Isn't it obvious? The thing Mr. Kudo was most insistent about in his testimony was the serving girl brought him a Javachino, but she put something in it. That's the serving girl right there in the defendant's chair. I remember her well. It's so hard to believe, but there was one and only one reason to show Mr. Kudo this fake poisoning. To show Maggie Bird in the act of poisoning the coffee. Are you insinuating that the waitress in the old man's story was a fake as well? It's true that there were no other customers in the restaurant at that time, but it's also true that the chef was there. He would have noticed what was happening. Well, he's in on it. That's right. Well, witness? If your restaurant really was the scene of such theatrics, you would have known about it, correct? Oh, this is most difficult for me. No, it's quite simple. All you have to do is testify. You are under oath after all. Was there, in fact, a phony and very good that day? The defense demands that Mr. Armstrong tell the whole truth about what happened. This is the dumbest thing I've ever read. Why would anyone bother doing that? Like, so what? So what if they didn't have Kudo as a witness? It'd be even easier if they didn't have Kudo as a witness. Why would anyone go to all this trouble to reenact the poisoning just to have Kudo be a witness? That doesn't... And I mean, the whole thing is completely ridiculous because they thought the tiger was Phoenix Wright. I can't believe they did this. I can't believe they did this. The defense's request for additional testimony is accepted. You will accurately explain in detail the events in the restaurant that day. Yes. In the restaurant. The victim, Mr. Elg, he came to my restaurant alone. I remember the old man arrived not long after him. There were no other customers. When he got word he won a lottery, Mr. Elk became very excited. Wait, in this photo, the wire is going to his right ear. It was approximately 5 minutes later that the poisoning incident occurred. No, there was no time for a phony to do the acting. Just so we're clear, there was no mirror in the restaurant after all. I mean, his whole testimony is unreliable. You must forgive me, Your Honor. I lied because I wanted this mess to be cleared up quickly. Yeah, no, he's not reliable. The old man's not a reliable witness. He's not a reliable witness. What you have just done is commit perjury, Mr. Armstrong. I will decide how to punish you later. Yes. For now, we will hear your cross-examination, Mr. Wright, if you please. He took that perjury charge a little bit too well. But I'm guessing he'll be in more serious trouble after this cross-examination. In the restaurant. Was he alone at his table as well? Yes, I saw him from the kitchen. You can't see his table from the kitchen. It's behind a partition. Yet the defendant, Miss Bird, remembers it differently. She swears there was another man at the victim's table. Ha! Unfortunately for you, Wright. Yesterday's witness also testified that the victim was alone. You know, seeing you squirm like that reminds me of a certain coffee's bittersweet bite. What? What kind of coffee has he been drinking? It's not coffee, it's love. It's love that's bittersweet. That's even worse, Maya. Hearing Maya say that makes her seem wise all of a sudden. The omen arrived not long after him. By old man, you mean Victor Kudo, correct? Yes, he comes often for my special coffee. I drank your coffee once, Mr. Armstrong. It's special, I'll give you that. It's worth a sip just for the experience. Oh, you make me so happy, sir. You are most welcome anytime. I said it was worth one sip, and nothing more. So old Mr. Kudo arrived at the restaurant around the same time as the victim. Maybe I should ask about his arrival in more detail. What time was it? Out of curiosity, about what time was it when Mr. Kudo arrived? Oh no, I cannot remember, sir. I believe we are told by a witness yesterday. The crime was reported at 2:25 by a kind of scary old man, sir. 2:25. Does that perhaps jog your memory, witness? The incident happened about 20 minutes after he arrived. So the victim must have arrived between 2 PM and 2:10 PM. Just after 2, huh? Thank you for your help in jogging my memory, sir. You were wonderful. Aha, haha, I can't sit here all the time and do nothing now, can I? Sure you can. The time of the day will be added to the witness's testimony. Yes, sir, judge everything I do it for you. Wait. Thank good? Thank you good? That's French, isn't it? Ha 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 ha. I'm glad at least one person is in a good mood. He's even humming a song to himself. I remember the old man arrived not long after him, just after 2 PM. This happens at 1:30. This happens at 1:30. Are you absolutely sure about the time? When I think really hard, I am sure it was just after 2, yes. It is the time I stopped serving lunch, the lunch menu. Quite right, I always break for lunch when the restaurants are serving their specials. I've been known to wind up a case early just to make it on time. Aha! I guess you should never get between a hungry judge and his lunch. Oh, would you look at that? It's almost lunchtime already. Witness! Get on with your testimony, please. There were no other customers. So your only customers were Mr. Kudo and the victim. How many times do you need to ask the same thing, Trite? You never catch me drinking the same blend twice. Wait, what? You've never drunk the same blend twice? Huh. You're trying to establish the presence of a phony victim in the restaurant. But you're wasting your time. You can't grind birdseed to make coffee if you catch my drift. Can't you? But there's a hole in this testimony somewhere, I'm sure of it. When he got word he won the lottery, Mr. Elk became very excited. Did you see him? No, I was in the kitchen, but I heard him. I remember him shouting, "Yes, $500,000! Presumably the defendant heard that too. Then correct? Maggie, she looked like a poor little frightened dove. And what about Mr. Kudo? The old man choked on some birdseed that got stuck in his throat. It seems we now have yet another incident on our hands. It was approximately 5 minutes after that the poisoning occurred. And what were you doing at that point? Without any customers, you must have had time to kill. I'm a multi-talented woman, sir. Sorry? What do you mean? There is a renowned chef, Jean Armstrong, and the tragic poet, Cloris Armstrong. Cloris? Yes, I was writing a poem. An angry tale of a chef in $500,000 of debt. I keep pressing the wrong button. Cooking for a man who won $500,000 on the lottery. It is called Pourquoi. It means why. Perhaps I could recite it for the court. Please don't. No, there was no time for a phony to do the acting. I guess Mr. Armstrong is connected to this case, huh? Absolutely. Someone was impersonating Mr. Elk and I refuse to believe he was oblivious. He was there the whole time after all. But if you're right, wouldn't Maggie have noticed too? She felt unconscious when the incident occurred, remember? Ah, you mean that's when the phony staged his act. We'll know for sure once I find a hole in this testimony. Alright, so obviously the times don't match up. The question is, where does the game want me to present the evidence? I'm gonna present this here. I'm afraid I finally got you, Mr. Armstrong. What do you mean? At the time in question, the victim was listening to the radio with his earpiece. The show he was listening to was Millionaire Radio. Each week they announced the winning numbers of the $500,000 lottery ticket. Yes, that must be the show Mr. Elg was listening to. I can't see any problem with this testimony, Mr. Wright. I wonder... You say the victim arrived at your restaurant after 2 PM, correct? Yes, I'm sure of it. I remember it perfectly now. I know it was that time because I had just finished serving the lunch menu. Get to the point, trite, if you have one. That show is broadcast live at 1:30 PM, and it claims to be the most thrilling 10 minutes of your life. It's on the air at 1:30. Now supposedly, the victim made some noise when it was announced that he had won. Man, look at him powering up. And yet, I don't believe his cry of joy could have occurred after 2 PM. Because the show had already finished more than 30 minutes earlier by that point in time. Ah! This victim we've been told about has done nothing but the impossible. Listening to the radio with a ruptured eardrum. Catching a show that was already over. There is only one conclusion you can draw from these facts. This victim was an imposter, acting out the poisoning 30 minutes after the real murder. Yes, there were 2 Glen Elgs in Very Good that day. The real Glen Elg now dead, having been poisoned by the real killer. And the phony Glen Elg acting out the events for Mr. Kudo to witness. Oh god, that's so bad. You're saying somebody died. Somebody died there. And then somebody else came in and reenacted his death in the place where the dead body still is, and then like a whole hour after the guy actually died, he goes and calls the cops. You reenacted his death on his corpse? Because the body was still there. The body was there the whole time. For an hour. A dead body was there for an hour. This story is like this is the stupidest thing. There's no way any of this is in any way plausible. It certainly seems that way. It certainly seems that way. It certainly seems that it doesn't seem like that at all, Judge. There's no way that could have worked. I mean, if that wasn't the case, how could you explain the time discrepancy? Quite a performance, Trite. You were almost on a roll. But sadly, you lack the rock-hard foundation of rhythm to build your song. What is this? Music Theory 101? Let's recap. According to your imaginative theory, it's now just after 2 PM. The phony Elg is performing a play for the benefit of Mr. Kudo. How do you explain then where the real Glen Elg is? I don't believe I have to spell this out for the court. However, at the time the real Glen Elg was already dead. Yeah, he was behind the mirror. They put a mirror over his dead body. That's certainly the obvious conclusion. Thank you, Trite. That's exactly what I was hoping you would say. What? Now, I presume you can prove this theory of yours. Can you explain where the missing corpse went to? The missing corpse? According to the old man's testimony, there was only one other customer there. If that customer was the phony Glen Elg, then where did the killer hide the body of the real victim? Ah. The prosecution has a valid point, Mr. Wright. If your theory is to stand up to examination by the court, you must provide us with proof by answering the prosecution's question. This is just a complete clown fiesta. Where did the killer hide the body? Yes, Your Honor. No conjecture, Trite. Let's hear some facts for once. Show the court a piece of evidence that proves where the body was hidden. Evidence? What's with the intense pressure in here all of a sudden? I thought I had him with that contradiction. But he's turned it all around and backed me into a corner instead. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. None of this makes any sense. Well, Mr. Wright, the court would now hear the defense's theory and evidence. First, where was the body of the real Glen Elk concealed? Inside Trebian. It would have been too dangerous to take the body outside. Obviously, the body must have been hidden somewhere inside Trebian. Interesting. But where could a body have been hidden inside a restaurant? Perhaps you would care to show the court on these plans, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. The exact location where the body was concealed inside Trebian is... Look, everything is a guess right now. I think... I mean, they could have moved him into the kitchen, but no. I think they just left him where he is, and they put a mirror here. Is I think what happened. The body was hidden here! I see. Nice supposition. But the real question is, can you back it up? Where's the evidence that proves the body was hidden in that location? I don't have evidence. Oh, actually, no, it was in the kitchen, my bad. It's in the kitchen. Because this was found in the kitchen. My bad. I think the mirror would have been better. If there actually was a mirror, I think that would have been bit better. Alright, let me like... Let me load the game. Inside Trebian. In the kitchen. The body was hidden here. I see. Can you back it up? The medication was inside the kitchen. Mr. Armstrong, do you recognize this bottle? No, I've never seen that ugly bottle before in my life. I only use the very best bottle, sir. The highest quality only for me. Where was that bottle found, Mr. Wright? Interestingly enough, Your Honor, it was found in the kitchen of Very Good. Where? But I only ever use these bottles for my aromatherapy oils. But this bottle doesn't contain aromatherapy oil, Mr. Armstrong. No, it contains a medication. What kind of medication? I'm sure everyone remembers, don't they? That Mr. Elk visited an otolaryngological clinic and was given medication that day. You can't be serious. The defense had the contents of the bottle analyzed, and I have the lab results here. The contents of the bottle matched the prescription that was given to Mr. Elk. Glen Elk's murderer hid the body in the restaurant kitchen, at which time this bottle fell out of the victim's pocket. Mr. Armstrong! When the incident occurred, didn't you say you were in the kitchen? My god! Yes, you know what I'm about to say. It was you who hid the victim's body. You did a fine job pretending to defend my client Maggie Bird. However, you were setting her up to take the fall behind the poor girl's back. Ah! Order! This is an extraordinary development. Yes. Yeah, extraordinary is one way of putting it. Witness! Did you murder Mr. Glen Elk? Never! I could not do such an horrible thing. Such a horrible. An horrible. No! Mr. Godot? The bitterness. Every time I get lied to, I always down a mug of coffee. That's one of my rules. Do you have the slightest idea how many cups you've had by now? Then I'd like to do the same to the person who lied to me. I'd like to take them down with my empty cup! Listen up, chef. How about a brand new flavor in your ear, my H-deficient friend? You must hear it out, please. It's a trap, listen to me. Please. Wait, por favor? Isn't that Spanish? That's not French. You speak Spanish, Mr. Armstrong? And por favor is Spanish. I'm only gonna ask you once, did you do it? No! Absolutely no. Let's hear it. You've got one shot, right, Gramps? Witness! The court will permit you the chance to make one final statement. If you lie under oath again, Mr. Godot's coffee mug awaits you. Oh snap. As does my gavel! Yes, it is clear. What do I always say in the movies? I've got a bad feeling about this. It was Phoenix Wright. He's gonna say it was Phoenix Wright who poisoned him. Because it's the tiger pretending to be Phoenix Wright. Oh, this is gonna be good. The chef is gonna say Phoenix Wright poisoned him. Very well, begin your final testimony, Mr. Armstrong. The confession! It is true. I hid the body in the kitchen. A man forced me to do it. I had no choice. I had to go along with him because there was a reason why I could not refuse. But I did not kill him. I swear it. You must believe me. Alright, well, you were forced. By who? I cannot say, or I will be erased. Let's try a different question then. When Mr. Elk died, was he really the only person at his table? There was another man. I knew it! Maggie was telling the truth. You may cross-examine the witness now, Mr. Wright. There's just one more thing I need to do. I gotta break this guy and get him to tell us the name of the real killer. Did you carry the body by yourself? Yes, I carried him, and I carried Maggie too. Maggie too? When she saw the victim collapse, she fainted. I could not leave her there. She was a trained police officer, and she fainted at the sight of a dead body. That doesn't make any sense. But why did you hide the bodies? A man forced me to do it. I had no choice. What man? Who was he? No, I cannot say. I fear for my life. He's really scared. You just have to put the words in his mouth, Nick. Yeah, you're right. If you won't tell me, I'll tell him. But why would you go along with this man? I had to go along with him because there was a reason why I could not refuse. And what reason would that be, Mr. Armstrong? You know, sir. Yes? Surely you cannot expect a young maiden to talk about such an embarrassment. A maiden? You're a bit old to get away with that. And a bit too male. Hey Maya, don't be so gender normative. I can't finish the cross-examination without establishing his reason. So I just have to prove it with evidence. But I did not kill him. I swear it. You must believe me. So, you are claiming that all you did was hide the bodies, is that correct? Yes, that's right. If we are to believe you, Mr. Armstrong, you must tell the court everything! You must make clear the identity of the man who ordered you to do this. He's already confessed this much, he might as well stop dancing around the real issue. Yeah, but he really doesn't want to tell us who the killer is. Then sock it to him, Nick! Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Alright, let's sock it to him. So what do I sock him with first? Because he has a reason. Let me just put his debt out. Jean's debt. You have a $500,000 debt, don't you? $500,000! Is this true, Mr. Armstrong? Yes. I was weak and I borrowed the money. This is Mr. Armstrong's Achilles heel. And that is why you couldn't refuse anything asked of you by this man. A $500,000 loan from a black market loan shark. And you had no way of paying it back, did you? That's why you were forced to do anything. This man told you. Yes, it is as you say, Mr. Armstrong. The tiger, he told me he was going to use my restaurant for a business rendezvous. A business meeting. I need to stop the French. On the day in question, he was meeting a victim to demand that he repay his loan. I don't know why it happened like that. I just did what he told me to do. I had no choice. I carried the body and the unconscious Maggie out of the dining area and into the kitchen. After that, I just tried to forget what I had seen. I think we can now safely say that the man who forced your hand was Mr. Furio Tigre. Hold on. I do have one further question for you, Mr. Armstrong. Hold on. So, Glenn Elk wrote MC Bomber, the virus, MC Bomber, for the tiger to pay back his loan. But Glenn Elk at the same time won $500,000. And he could have used that money to pay back his loan and not have given him the virus. Or like one or the other. I mean, look, if there was no lottery, this would have made more sense. Maybe the lottery was faked. Maybe winning the lottery was faked. Yeah, no. Maybe Glenn Elk was killed. He handed over MC Bomber and then he was killed to shut him up. And then when they faked the killing, they pretended that he won the lottery. To make it so that, make it seem like the killing was over the lottery and not over MC Bomber, which is a much bigger problem for the law, right? For the police. I do have one further question for you, Mr. Armstrong. The poison and the lottery ticket that were found in the defendant's apron pocket, was that your doing as well? No, I knew nothing about that. Making it look like it was Maggie who had done it, I was not. It is despicable. Mr. Godot! You will summon this Furio Tigre as a witness. I doubt that can be arranged today, so we will adjourn for now. You doubt that can be arranged today? Proceedings will continue tomorrow. It's 13 minutes. What? The trial will go on. I'll see to it myself. I need half an hour to get that guy on the stand. Not a minute more. Is he Yakuza? How can he get him here in half an hour? Who is Godot? How the... Don't sit back and relax yet, trite. no one knows if that chef is really telling the truth or not. This trial could still go either way. Very well. Your request is granted, Mr. Godot. We will resume once Mr. Tigre is ready to take the stand. Until then, court is adjourned for 30-minute recess. How is he gonna get him here in 30 minutes? Alright, see you next time.